You're listening to Breakaway Wealth, the show designed to help you build wealth faster, think bigger, and break out of the herd. Now, here's your host, Jim Oliver. Before we jump into today's show, we have some exciting news to share with you. Our brand new online community platform is now live. Get access to free on-demand, in-depth training courses on topics like infinite banking, cryptocurrency, real estate investing, and much more. Just go to community.createtailwind.com. That's community.createtailwind.com, or check out the show notes of this episode to find the direct link to request to join the community. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back, Breakaway Wealth. I'm your host, Jim Oliver, and with me today, King Khang. How are you?
Good, man. Hey, happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you, and thank you so much for being on the show. I got to listen to you a little bit at Family Mastermind and talked a little bit offline with myself and Nick Koshko for a few minutes, and definitely interested in what you're doing and how you're helping people and serving the community. And so just to get started, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you're doing?
Sure. Well, before I start, I want to say, Jim, dude, I appreciate it. It's an honor to sit here and do this with you. And I got to say this, but first off, before I say this, I got to say no homo, man. But you got beautiful blue eyes, bro.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, let me so my story of how I went from zero to now making $350,000 a month. Basically, I was born and raised in Vietnam. I grew up in a mud hut. Dirt poor. I used to catch frogs for dinner. I'm blessed and fortunate enough to be able to come to America at the age of 9. Drop out of high school when I was 17. I just knew that school wasn't for me, Jim. All I wanted to do is make money, man.
Yeah.
And all they do is teach me nonsense in class. Like, I don't need to learn about Jupiter. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep.
So I dropped out of high school when I was 17. Obviously, Asian parents, my mom and dad were very, very upset. And they're very sad. And their whole entire goal was to bring me to America so I can graduate from high school, go to college, get a degree, become a doctor, like just the typical.
Yeah.
But I just knew that it wasn't for me. I just didn't want to waste the next 4 to 8 years knowing that even if I graduated, I'm not going to pursue college.
Yep.
And I see people with high school diploma that comes out and still go work at a regular J.O. the B. Then I said, dude, why do I need a diploma? So anyways, Jim, I met the wife at the age of 18. Moved into this little shed behind a mobile home park. Got my first J.O. the B, man. I was making $8.50 an hour. And all I wanted, Jim, was just to make $15 an hour, and I would be extremely happy.
Yeah.
And, Lon and I, we live in that little shed from 18 until we're 23. Everything was, we save. We basically live extremely frugal. And we pretty much save every single dollar. I remember being so sick, Jim, I still crawl into work because I wanted to save the sick leave. I wanted to save the vacation because that's extra money. Instead of using it, Lon and I was just saving it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, so I bought my first house at the age of 23. Got into real estate at the age of 27. I'd start out with the whole fix and flip. Did that for 4.5 years. And I almost went bankrupt and lost everything. And the lesson I learned from that was I was trying to grow too fast, too quick. Because I was so new into the game, I was trying to learn everything. But then I was also trying to run, competing with other investors in the game. Yeah. 4.5 years goes by, man. I just couldn't leverage anymore. And I discovered wholesaling. So some local investors said, Khang, you're so good at finding deals. You're so good at negotiating. Why don't you just wholesale? And I said, I had no choice. So I had to figure out the game, how to wholesale. It was, find a distressed property, put the property in the contract, sell a contract over to a house flipper. And at the time, I already knew a bunch of investors because I did the whole fix and flip. So I found this property. It was listed and then it got taken off the market. It's called expired listing. I send a letter to the seller saying, hey, my name's Khang. I want to buy your house. I want to make you a cash offer. She called me back, negotiate back and forth. I met her at McDonald's, put the property in the contract. find a buyer in 2 days, Jim, sold the contract over to the buyer, and made $28,000 in 15 days.
Wow.
And that was a game changer, man. And so I shut down my fix and flip operation, go all into wholesaling. And then, when maybe in about a year and a half, I was making 6-figure a month. Then I discover, after that, I got 7 VAs. I got team system process in place. So I was making 6-figure a month, and I was only working like an hour or 2 a day. And then I discover Gary Vee talks about building a personal brand, creating content on social media. So I started my whole, creating content about 6 years ago. And I remember launching my first YouTube video and got 1 view, 1 subscriber. And I said, oh, this better not be my mom. And long story short, now I'm at 4. Now, I guess altogether, all my social media combined, I have about over 4 million followers. And now, obviously it helps me create multiple stream of income. So combined with all my businesses, we're doing about $350,000 a month right now.
Wow. That's awesome.
Thanks.
There's a lot to unpack there. So let's start. Okay. Let's
Sure.
start with the important things.
Sure.
So one of my favorite foods in the world is pho. So.
Oh yeah.
But I'm one of those guys. I can't use chopsticks. But
Oh no.
I love to go. The place that I go to, all the Vietnamese people go to in my area.
Right.
If they're gonna pho, like this is the place, right? And it's not fancy,
Right.
but it's the broth. And she puts the femur bone in there and the bone marrow. I mean, it's so good. But I watch, right? And I watch with the chopsticks. And I have chopstick envy because you can put in the spoon all the right stuff with the chopsticks. With the fork, it's more like I'm twisting and twisting and twisting, trying to get it in there. Then the jalapeno, then a little meat, then some other vegetables, and it's hard.
Yeah.
So I gotta. I love pho. I go
Good,
at
man.
least every week.
Good. Jim, it's because if you don't like pho, dude, then we can't hang.
What's funny is I take a lot of people to that restaurant, and it's amazing how many people go, "Huh, it's okay." It's like, no, you didn't do it right.
Yeah.
You got to get the right stuff in your broth. You got to get,
It just got to be right.
You didn't make it spicy. Number one, But I was turned on to pho. I grew up in Los Angeles. I dated a Vietnamese girl who, because it was right after the Vietnam War, she told everybody she was Hawaiian, but her name was Win, right? Which is spelled like W-I-N.
Right.
But it's like, that's like Jones in Vietnamese, right?
Yep. Now, pretty much.
Nobody, I didn't care that. Again, the governments are governments, right? So I fell in love with pho because her mom could make some pho. It was amazing.
Let's go.
Okay. All right, now we'll get back to business. I thank God I just had lunch so that I'm not going to have to drive up and get pho. But so, man, I love stories like that. Here's the thing. I grew up in a all. I was the only white kid on my football team, and most of the people in my area were African American. And I was always impressed. This may get me in trouble, may not. But I was always impressed with all in Los Angeles, the liquor stores, which is where you would go get a Coke. Okay, it's not just liquor; it's like a convenience store back then. But they were always owned by Asian people.
Yep.
And then people would get mad. They own the business. No, they're the ones taking the risk. And like you said, I remember at this one store that I went to all the time, they lived in the back until they had a Mercedes.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they're living in Torrance. From Inglewood to Torrance is like night and day. But they did what they needed to do. And I've always been impressed with that immigrant mentality. And it seems to really be that, and again, if it sounds bad, it sounds bad, is Asian immigrants just have this work ethic and this drive that is something to learn from. Like, okay, I grew up I was adopted, everything else. So I get to adopt, even though I don't look like I'm Vietnamese and I don't look like I'm Mexican, but I adopt these cultures and I take the best, leave the rest because I don't have one, right, that I know of. And so I've always really respected that. So your story, I love that story. And I love that you figure it out, because if you're not, we're motivated by two things. Tony Robbins says, right? Pain and pleasure. Pain is the stronger motivator. It's what motivated you, and you figured it out, right? And you figured out, wait a minute, I just made more than I'm going to make in my JOB for a year in 15 minutes.
Yep.
And that freeing revelation, and thank God that was revealed to you, made all the difference in the world. That one moment, right? I mean, so, all right. So now you broke away. You see, you know how to do that. You did it. You're doing it. What do you see, King, that most people, why they don't break away? I mean, even people that you talk to that are reading your stuff, you got all these followers. Like, what do you think is holding people back?
Jim, dude, before I answer that questions, I want to go off of what you said about immigrant. You see, I think the reason why immigrant, we come to America and we grind, we work so hard, bro, is because we saw what on the other side of the world is, right? We see how hard it is, right? Like people in my country would have to work 10 to 12 hours a day, bro, just to make 15 to 20 bucks a day. All right. And then over here in America, you can flip a burger for 1 hour and make that amount of money. So when we come over here, we're like, dude, this is easy money. My parents worked 10 to 12 hours a day. It was a piece of cake. It was, to them, was like easy, right? And then, but for people in America, they never saw the other side of the world. So they never understand how hard it is to make an extra $5 or an extra $10, right? So that's why when immigrant, we come over here, dude, we're just willing to hustle because we see the opportunity, right? And, my whole thing, Jim, is you're either making money or you're making excuses. If you see someone has a successful restaurant, you can do it too. But the reason why you're not is because you're not willing to take the risk and you're not willing to put in the work, right?
Yeah.
So, so for me, people that get into the wholesaling game or any business, Jim, it doesn't matter what business. The only, for me, Jim, for people to change in life, there's only two reasons why people would change their health, their business career, whatever it is. The only reason why someone would change is because they're unhappy or unsatisfied. Now, when we're talking about business, it's because maybe they see a better opportunity that will make them more money, less effort, right? And then they'll let the other one go, right? So they switch from one business career to another one is because they see a better business opportunity that will make them more with less work, less effort. That's why they let the other one go. Or they're not focused on more, putting more attention on it. But the regular people, just work at a JO to B, and now they want to become like an entrepreneur, build their own business. In this case, I'm talking about wholesaling real estate. The reason why, Jim, is I think people don't want it as bad that they say that they do. There was a quote from Eric Thomas. I don't know if you know Eric Thomas, but he said, when you want success as bad as you want to breathe, that is when you become successful, my friend. If you don't want it that bad, I don't care what you do and I don't care what you say. You can wake up and do all the affirmations you want, baby. Right? But at the end of the day, if you're not putting in the work, if you're not committed to it, all right, and if you're not just willing to push through the pain, you ain't gonna do it, my friend.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it's funny because again, in U.S. standards, I grew up poor. I was homeless at one point in time, but I at 13 years old, I was swinging a hammer in a casket factory, and I saw the owner of the business come in, during the day. This was during the summer when I was in school, when I wasn't in school, and I thought, wait a minute, I'm swinging a hammer. The owner of this business comes in for a couple hours and then leaves, and he lives in Palos Verdes. I live in Inglewood. Like, okay, I got it, right? Own a business, right? But I feel sorry for people that don't have adversity, that haven't gone through adversity.
Correct.
Because, if you're born at the 26th mile marker of a marathon, you can roll to the finish.
Yep.
Right? I mean, you don't have to get up and run. And I feel sorry for that, because one of my favorite quotes is adversity introduces a person to themselves.
Mm.
And you said that in your opening remarks in your story, is you had to come to grips with, oh crap. Like, one, I found the girl of my dreams, right? I want to get married. And, that motivates us too, because we want our girl to be happy.
Yep.
And we want to provide, and we want to have a family, and we want all of these things. And you had this pressure of, hey, you don't want to be a doctor. Hey, you don't want to do this kind of traditional, stereotypical thing.
Yep.
And you know what? It's hard to break away from that traditional thing, because if you became a doctor and you're an orthopedic surgeon and you're making $1.5 million, $2 million a year, whatever it is, everybody goes, man, he's killing it. That guy's got it figured out. But you're also a slave. You're a financial slave.
Yep.
Because, and maybe you can talk about this. Nobody was going to teach you what you learned in school, right? No school, zero. There's no school. And everything that we've been taught about money is wrong. And it's all designed to control us. So talk about like what you do with your students, with your community, to help change that paradigm, and like maybe give me a success story or two.
Yeah, Jim, could you explain that? Could you explain it a little bit more so I can understand? Sorry, yeah.
So what okay, so you people come to you to learn how to do this, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe give me one or two stories of them coming to you and learning how to do it, and a success story, like, hey, I had this student, this is a little bit about their background without using names, and this is what they did, and 6 months later, here's what they were doing. Because I think sometimes the reason that your story is powerful, the reason I tell my story, is because I want people to say, if they can do it, I can do it. Right. And so like when they hear, because one of the things that I would say is, if I want to know how to do what you've done, and look, all I got to do is figure out what I want and find somebody who's got what I want, and then do what they did.
Yep.
But better yet, learn from them directly and improve it. Right. Yep. I mean, that's what I love. Is I want, I know you would too, is somebody come back and say, hey, King, I took all of your stuff that you taught me, and now I'm making $500,000 a month. You'd be proud, like a proud papa, right?
Yep.
So that's what I mean. Like, just maybe an example or two of success stories.
Sure, Jim. So for all my students that comes and wants to join, I always tell them, number one is that, do you have the work ethic? Because this is not easy, right? Yeah. I let them know. Like for me, Jim, dude, I'm straight up. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I'll let you know, dude. But are you ready to be the 1% earner? So which means you have to do things on the day that you don't want to do it, and you have to commit, because nothing work if you don't. Like, this is not the, oh yeah, Khang, I want to jump on and I want to try. Dude, it ain't gonna work. You gotta be like, dude, you gotta say, Khang, this is what I want to do, and I'm willing to commit, and I know I'm gonna put in a lot of work, because I know this is not easy, because I want things that other people don't have. I want to make the kind of money that majority of the 97%, cannot make. Then you must be willing to do things that other people won't willing to do. So which means you got to be grinding on the weekend, grinding in the holidays, right? Grind 3 to 4 hours after work. So you hustling all the dang time. So I say, do you have that? And if you can't commit, dude, for at least a year, then don't even bother. Because this is not a get rich quick, right? Yep. Dude, because no matter, Jim, my whole thing is, I just want to be straightforward, man. No matter, even if you hire Jim or you hire whoever it is to be your mentor, you still got to put in the work, my friend.
Yeah.
Right? Because nothing works if you don't. So I got a student comes on, and, my whole thing is, he's like, Khang, for 2023, I want to make $100,000. I said, fantastic. Just with now, I'm not saying that this happens to everybody. Probably not. But he was the 1%. He was grinding 10 hours a day. For the next 30 days, he got one prop and a contract. He ended up closing on it and made $117,000. I think it was in 60 days. I said, dude, you can take the whole entire year off now. He said, no, I'm going to reinvest it back into my marketing and I'm going to hustle some more. A lot of time, Jim, that like entrepreneur, most entrepreneur, when we hit one milestone, we don't take a break. We're like, because we saw what's possible, we're like, dude, let's make another 100K or let's make another million. It's just one go after another one.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, there's a little pamphlet that Albert Gray wrote, and it's the common denominator of success. And you know what what he says is successful people do things that unsuccessful people either can't or won't do.
1000%.
But he really boils it down to successful people make a habit of doing things that other people don't like to do. Like, you know, people don't like to call somebody and say, hey, I would like to buy your real estate portfolio or buy your house, like what you said, right? Hey, that people don't want to do that.
Yep.
Right? They don't like to do that. But successful people make a habit of doing things unsuccessful people either can't or won't do. They don't like to do. And you know, the key is, and I sense this with you, and I want you to talk about this, is you like to do it. And so in the opposition, in the struggle, learning to like the opposition and that process is key to success. Talk about that. Because I can tell from your enthusiasm, you like doing the things that other people don't like to do.
Well, you know,
but you like to do it.
Yeah, so the thing with me, Jim, is there's two types of people that I just hate. One is lazy people. Those people are hopeless, right? Number two is excuse maker. You tell them to do something, they make excuses. To me in life, Jim, you're either making money or you're making excuses, period. Like, if the people that are making money, I promise you, they're not making excuses, right? They always trying to figure shit out, right? They own up. And then if they don't have it figured out, they'll try to find a way to do whatever they needed to do, but they will not make excuses. It's always the brokey, Jim, that make excuses. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Dude, I don't have the time. So, so Jim, I went to Jack in the Box and I ran into a fan, someone that followed me on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, so basically they're like, hey, you know, Khang, I'm tired of working here and this and that. And I said, well, you know, have you looked into wholesaling? And then he's like, I don't have the time. I said, well, wait a second. If you knew that you can make $10,000 a month, would you make the time to do it? He said, yeah. But the reason why he's not doing it, because he doesn't have the confidence or the belief in actually making it happen, putting in the work.
Yeah.
See, when people say that they want it, Jim, they only want it if it's easy and it's convenience. Oh, I'll go to the gym. I'll do this if it's within my time. Dude, no, bro. So for me, Jim, whatever is your priority. Whatever is your priority. If your priority was to get rich and become financially free, I promise you, you do not care about a brand new car. You do not care about vacation trip. You do not care about hanging out with your brokey friends. All you focus on is getting that money because that is your priority. But if your priority is like, hey, you know what? After work, I just want to relax. I just want to chill. I just don't want to, dude, then obviously everything else would go in the back burner. And for me, Jim, like, did I like cold calling? No, I hate it. Do I like, dude, like a lot of, like, I hate it. But I knew I had to do what I had to do to get to where I wanted to be. If I want to make money, when I first started, I got a cold call. I got to call a realtor. I got to network. I got to drive an hour and a half away to go through this event and learn from other people. Do I want to do it? No, I hate it. I'd rather just stay at home, watch TV. I'd rather just play video game. You guys don't think that I want to go and have fun and enjoy? I do. But for me, it's all about delaying instant gratification. It's doing whatever you need to do right now to provide for the family. Jim, a lot of people said, you know, rich people are selfish, but I think it's the brokey that are selfish. All they care is about themselves. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to go on vacation. Well, what about your parents? Why aren't you go out there making a lot of money so you can take care of them? They are the one who gave you life. And then what about your wife? Right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, like for me, like, Jim, I grew up in a family where I was raised up, dude, like as a man, you are a provider. You make sacrifices for your family. Your family goes first. You suck it up. You suffer. But you do not let your family do it, man.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, it's not about want or not wanting to do, man. It's you just have to do what you got to do to get that money, man. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you know, I mean, I love the message, man. And I love the enthusiasm, and, I could probably talk to you for hours, but they tell me that after, 20 some minutes, everybody stops listening. But if you turn this off, I don't know how you turn it off, because I love the enthusiasm. I love, people, the American dream. You're the American dream, man.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
Made that happen. So along the way, what was the best advice that anybody ever gave you?
The best advice that someone gave me, Jim, is you're not going to get rich by working at a job.
That's a great advice.
Everybody that got rich, Jim, has a plan.
Yep.
Nobody got rich by accident.
No.
People that win a lotto ticket, their plan was to win a lotto ticket. So they're out buying the Powerball every day or every Friday. I don't know.
Yeah.
But everybody that got rich, my friend, has a plan.
Yeah.
So the question is, what is your plan? And a plan without action is just a wish. So you got to come up with a plan, and you got to put in action. And the thing is, Jim, I just watched someone on YouTube or on TikTok, and he was saying, I always knew that I was going to be rich. Let me be real with you. If I sit here and I tell you that I knew I was going to become a millionaire and I'll become rich, I'll be lying. Dude, when I was living in a shed behind a mobile home park, I was making $8.50 an hour. If Jim would have come up to me and said, Khang, you're going to become a millionaire one day, dude, blah, 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 I'll be like, come on, man, get out of here, fool.
Yeah.
Like, Alon and I didn't know. We didn't know. Like, I would never imagine one day that I'll wake up and be able to drive a Ferrari. I don't know. But one thing that I did know, Jim, is that Lon and I wanted to be financially free.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be stuck at a job until I was 65. That's all I knew. Yeah. But did I know how everything was going to play out? No. I don't know. It was just one day at a time, one step at a time. But we knew that if we spent our money on buying stupid shit, like designer clothes, trying to look rich, then we'll end up being a little bitch, which means you end up being stuck at the job for the rest of your life, right? So we knew we had to be frugal with our money. We can't be out there flashing, buying stupid shit, right? Brand new car, nice apartment. That's what gets you guys, that's what get a lot of you guys broke, man. It's because you're out there trying to look rich instead of freaking get rich. Because when your focus is getting rich, I promise you, majority of your life when you're starting out, you're living poor.
Yeah. Well, and it motivates you, right? Because you want those things, but you're not going to be, you're not going to be foolish about how to get those things.
Right.
California, when I grew up, there was a lot of people living in apartments, driving 7 Series BMWs.
I know.
And that still happens today. And what's funny about that is, like you said, I mean, if you take care in the beginning, the end will take care of itself, right? Yep. And I love that message, and I love that advice. All right, Khang, the last question I've got is, before we give everybody the information on how to get a hold of you and how you work with people and all that, is if God came down from heaven, only allowed you to retain the knowledge that you've received from one book, what would that book be?
And I know a lot of you probably already read this book, but it's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's the book that changed my whole entire life. Because if this doesn't change, I promise you, nothing in your life will change.
It's so true, because, one of the things that we do, this podcast, our outro, is Earl Nightingale and the Strangest Secret.
Love him.
Excuse me. And it's, whatever you think about, you will become.
And I love Earl Nightingale. Yep.
You think I'm fat, out of shape, poor, you're going to become all of those things.
Right.
And if you think I'm beautiful, I'm in great shape, I'm wealthy, you're going to become those things. And we all get negative thoughts. But
Right.
the best analogy that somebody ever told me on those thoughts is when they come, imagine they're on a highway. They're just like, they're gone, right?
Yep.
In and out. So anytime the negativity or doubt creeps in, you just get rid of it. And, I love the way that you're talking about, like, so here's my book that's coming out. And
Oh, I love it.
it's I guess I don't have my camera
Make
right.
bank.
Make bank
But without
the bank. Right?
I love it, Jim.
Yeah.
I love it. That's a great title, man.
Yeah. And, I learned, I was a Wall Street guy for 15 years, Carl. And
Wow.
I realized I wasn't making anybody rich. Maybe me, right? But I wasn't helping other people get rich. And I figured out that it came down to two things: owning businesses and real estate. And also then I learned how to control the banking function in my life, because there's no business in the world that's more profitable than banking. So
1,000.
we should all be our own banker.
Love it.
Everybody, I don't care how much money you have, even if you're making $15 an hour, you should still don't give interest and don't have lost opportunity costs, recapture all of that. But, okay. So I want to encourage everybody to learn, because I guarantee you, I already know, I don't even have to ask. I guarantee you there's more free stuff that Khang's giving away than you can imagine. And you could get a heck of an education. And I want to encourage you that if you're serious, then get involved with one of his programs and dive into the river. You won't let yourself drown. Just get started. So how do they get a hold of you? And what's the best way to engage with you?
Yeah, the best thing is just you can follow me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever it is, just at Real King Khang. There you go.
Awesome. And I love that, the TikTok stuff, because,
Thanks, Jim.
58-year-old guy. I'm an old guy. I can't tell
You
you.
look great, man.
Bro.
You look great.
Thank you. But, and so like, Aaron, oh man, I'm drawing a blank on Aaron's name, from family, marketing guy. Maybe he's going to get me on TikTok, because he's going to take over my marketing stuff.
Nice. Well, Jim,
he told me I got to lose 20 pounds.
No, Jim, the next time when we meet at the family mastermind, man, let's do a TikTok together.
Let's do it. All right.
For sure.
All right. Sounds good. All right, audience. Like I said, I can talk to Khang forever here. And, your enthusiasm and your positive outlook is infectious. And I encourage everybody to get on TikTok and follow you and let that drip into your brain on a daily basis. And thinking of dripping into brains, we're going to wrap it up like we always do with the incredible words of Earl Nightingale. Take it away, Earl.
Here's the key to success and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about.
Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to hear what was shared on today's podcast. If you are looking to discover new wealth building strategies, then go to community.createtailwind.com. That's community.createtailwind.com to join our free online community and get access to free courses and in-depth training videos designed to help you build wealth and break away from the herd. Click the link in the show notes to access the community today. Thanks again for listening.